Thank you, Cami and Koyu, for inspiring us. Thank you all. I am now honored to join with the university community, parents, family, friends, and guests in recognizing a very distinguished guest. University Provost Peter Starr, will you assist in the conferring of the honorary degree?
In granting honorary degrees, the university recognizes distinguished individuals whose life work represents the values, knowledge, and accomplishments that are embodied in the mission of this institution. Today, we honor a respected business leader. Deans Marchik and Boland will join me to present this degree. Will Adena Friedman please rise to receive the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters? Adena Friedman, you are a trusted and respected business leader, serving as Chief Executive Officer of Nasdaq and Chair of its Board of Directors. With over 20 years of industry leadership and expertise, you are credited with significantly shaping Nasdaq's transformation into a leading global exchange and technology solutions company with operations across 6 continents. Prior to being named CEO, you served as Nasdaq's President and Chief Operating Officer. In that role, you focused on efficiency, product development, growth, and expansion. You also served as the Chief Financial Officer and Managing Director of the Carlyle Group, where you played a key role in taking the company public in May of 2012. You are respected for your perspective and judgment and have been featured in the New York Times, The Economist, and Forbes. And in 2019, you gave a TED Talk on the future of capitalism. You earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science from Williams College and a Master of Business Administration degree from Vanderbilt University's Owen Graduate School of Management.
Adena Friedman, by the authority of the Congress of the United States, vested in the Board of Trustees of American University, I am proud to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations, Adena.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for asking me to be a part of this very special day. Congratulations are in order for so many people here. First, the faculty and administration, who've helped shepherd another successful class of students to this moment. Next, to the parents and family members of these exceptional young people who, and you've really carried them throughout their entire educational journey. As a mom who celebrated her own college son graduates not too long ago, I know how proud you are today to be here. And of course, to our graduates, my biggest congratulations go out to all of you. You've put so much heart and effort to make it to this day, so soak in this moment because you've absolutely earned it. Now, as your commencement speaker, I've been asked to provide some words of wisdom for the road ahead, and I take this responsibility very seriously. So here is the good news. Your education at American University has prepared you well for the demands of the real world. You've received a top-notch education that has taught you how to think critically about the world. Kogod has honed a unique approach to building interdisciplinary capabilities, combining entrepreneurship, sustainability, entertainment, and analytics, which now provides you with a terrific foundation and distinct leadership and collaboration skills that will help you thrive in your chosen fields. And perhaps most importantly, living and learning here in the nation's capital, you've honed a bias towards action, a willingness to go beyond the theoretical and into the practical. And with these attributes, you're poised to succeed in just about anything that you set your mind to. But how you pursue your success is going to matter, not just for yourselves, but for all of us. This is especially true in a time when trust Trust in institutions and in each other seems to be eroding just about everywhere we look. It can be found in the root of geopolitical conflict, political extremes, and market challenges. It can be found in our inability to find middle ground in politics, culture, and even in business. This persistent mistrust is undermining our ability to tackle the most pressing issues facing our nation and the world. And changing this dynamic is an urgent priority, but one that will require collective action over many years. Now, as you leave American University and enter the world, each one of you can make a difference. You can help set a new tone. You can build a stronger foundation, one that supports collaboration and inclusion, and most importantly, rebuilds trust. So, just change the course of the global trajectory. That's all I'm asking. It's no big deal. Well, I realize it sounds like a staggeringly big thing to ask of you, but what we need to keep in mind is that the macro is always made up of a lot of micro, which means that there are specific tangible actions that each one of us can take in our lives and in our careers that will add up to a big difference. And that's what I want to share with you today. 3 choices that you can make, not once, but over and over again, practically every day. Things that you can go out into the world and literally start doing tomorrow. That in the micro create a lot more value for your career and enrich your lives, and in the macro might just nudge the world back towards a more positive direction. So here is the first choice. Choose curiosity over judgment. In today's world, we find ourselves talking past each other, never really listening and turning away from people who disagree with us. In a noisy and complicated world, our beliefs are what keep us grounded, but they shouldn't be so deeply rooted that they prevent us from growing. Your values aren't fragile, so don't treat them like they are. If you can stand in discomfort, engage with people who are different from you, and actively listen to what they're saying, you're going to have a richer and more valuable understanding of the world around you. It's not about approaching every interaction with someone who thinks differently than you as a chance to change their mind. And it's also not about being antagonistic towards different opinions. It's about taking the time to listen and learn constantly. That is something that I learned firsthand when I was a student myself. I went to high school and college back in the 1980s, in the last days of the Cold War. And just about every day, politicians and the media were demonizing the Soviet Union and the Russian people. But I knew there had to be more than what I was reading in the paper or watching on TV. So I decided to start studying the Russian language and Soviet history and politics. I went to the Soviet Union in 1989, before the Berlin Wall fell, but as the Soviet system was unraveling. And it was a completely eye-opening experience. Over the span of a month, I met the most wonderful people. People who invited me into their homes, sharing meals and stories with me. People who became friends. These were individuals who spoke about their own government's actions and mistakes in hushed tones, looking over their shoulder. This wasn't the story that we were being told by politicians or the media, one that painted every Russian citizen as an enemy of every American. That trip taught me so much, not just about what was happening in the world then, but what's happening in the world today. It trained me to look beyond the headlines, think about people living, working, and making the best decisions that they can from wherever they sit. My challenge to you is to be intellectually curious. Push yourself further, dig deeper, listen to others, and build a nuanced, 3-dimensional view of the world. Think about what it would mean for you to lead with curiosity instead of judgment. If you are intentional about prioritizing curiosity in every meeting or every article that you read, how would that change you? How would that change the people you engage with? How could that start changing things beyond you? This approach will not just make you a more informed person, it will make you better able to excel in your career and give back to the world. And on that journey, we find choice number 2. Choose relationships over transactions. Your career will play out over decades. And it is truly amazing how often the same people show back up in your life, like Dave. How we treat people and the way we pursue our goals is going to be the greatest determinant of our success. You can choose to be transactional about your career and prioritize winning at all costs. I've spent my entire career in finance, and I have seen an endless stream of short-term thinkers come and go. But please take it from me that the cost of that approach in the long run is massive. Prioritizing relationships and being competitive are not mutually exclusive goals. And I'm also not standing here saying, oh, just be nice to everyone and it'll all work out in the end. In fact, I take a competitive approach to work and life. And from my experience, success starts by building a great team around you. People whom you trust and who trust you. And it's not about doing favors with the expectation of being repaid later. Rather, it's about building a lasting network of relationships who are there to help you make better decisions, who will tell you the unvarnished truth, and who will be there when you need them because they know you'll be there for them too. Relationships are often the very thing that will help you win. This is something that I've seen play out at Nasdaq countless times, and I recognize the irony of me advocating for relationships over transactions being the CEO of a business that is driven by trading, because after all, we do, in fact, facilitate millions of transactions a day. But as good as our technology is and as differentiated as our platform is, decisions almost always come down to more than that. And I can think of no better example than in our listings business. We compete vigorously every day to attract companies to choose Nasdaq as their listing venue as they go public. And for many CEOs, this is both a left and a right-brain decision. Their company is their baby. It is their professional pride and joy. And as they enter the public markets, it's a big step for them. And while they may start by comparing different exchanges on a set of objective criteria, they want to know in the long run, ultimately, that they are entering into a long-term relationship, a partnership with someone whom they can trust. And it's all the time that we put into building the relationships with them ahead of that moment, often over the course of many years, that ultimately leads them to a successful transaction at Nasdaq. Transactions are mile 26 of a marathon. Relationships are the other 25 miles. Think about what it would mean for you to prioritize relationships over transactions in your own career. How would that change the way you approach people, the things that you ask for and those that you give? How would it change how you define success, or the way that you interact with your coworkers, your clients, your boss, and even your competitors? Taking the time to build relationships always pays off, even when you can't see mile 26 because you're still on mile 3. And that brings me to the third choice. Choose abundance over scarcity. When we start seeing the world in the terms of relationships, it makes you more aware of the problem of zero-sum games. Zero-sum thinking is all around us. Anytime someone treats a win for one side as an automatic loss for another. But this is a scarcity mindset. It's a two-dimensional view that assumes that what we have today is all that we'll have tomorrow. Or that if someone prospers, it means that there's less to go around for everyone else. In my experience, that's a totally flawed model. And an abundance mindset opens up a three-dimensional view of whatever problem you're trying to solve. It helps you see beyond what is today and what could be tomorrow. Earlier in my career, I was responsible for executing all of the acquisitions at Nasdaq, and we were quite acquisitive. And one of the very first things I learned is that if you approach the negotiating table with focus solely on winning every point or determined not to lose any points, you're not going to close a lot of deals. There is one deal that I worked on that really drove that point home to me, and that was Nasdaq's acquisition of OMX, which was one of the most transformational deals in the history of the company. Just as we completed the deal negotiations, a third party entered the arena and tried to outbid us. And it could have become a very hostile or contested situation, but it didn't. Instead of shutting down conversations in order to seek a single winner outcome, we were able to turn the third party from a competing bidder into a large long-term investor in the combined Nasdaq OMX entity. A strategic investor who is still with us, with the company today, 15 years later, and one that we consider a critical partner to our success. So think about what it would mean to adopt an abundance mindset in your own life. How would seemingly insurmountable problems look when you take a wider view? How does it change what you think you're capable of? How does it change what you think we're capable of? People like to say that life is short, but I disagree. Life and careers are long and winding and exhilarating and sometimes terrifying. You will face endless choices. Some will be big and some small, and sometimes you won't know which is which until much later. Our lives are the sum of those choices, of how we choose to show up for ourselves, for the people we care about, and for the world. And what I found is this: when you choose curiosity, when you choose relationships, when you choose abundance, what you're really choosing is optimism. And when you choose optimism, just about anything becomes possible. Optimism is at the root of resilience. And if we let optimism guide our decisions again and again, we create an essential element of trust, the unshaking belief that whatever is happening today, there is a positive path forward. We just have to find it. Optimism is a virtuous cycle. Fear is a vicious cycle. The choice of which cycle to create is ours. Now, I bet a lot of people are asking you right now, what do you want to do? But I would like you to ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to be? A long time ago, an English poet, Alfred Lord Tennyson, wrote, "What shall I be at 50, should nature keep me alive, if I find the world so bitter when I am but 25? There is more than enough bitterness and division in the world. What we need right now is a dose of optimism. I ask you to choose to be a virtuous person. If you make that choice and you keep making it again and again, you'll be more successful, more fulfilled, and you'll have a lot more fun in the process. To the class of 2023, I wish you the very best as you go out into the world and make your mark. Thank you very much.